You will also need a more I messed up, shocking. Good morning, welcome back to Flannel Farms. My name is Brian. Today we're going to talk about electric fences. Now, as a disclaimer, I am not sponsored, supported, or endorsed by any of these products. These are just the fences and solar brains that I've been using on our property for about a year. Couple things you need to keep in mind when you're deciding whether you're going to use an electric fence or not is location, how big of an area you're trying to do, what types of predators you have, and cost. Per foot, electric fencing is significantly cheaper than trying to build an actual physical barrier. It's easy to take up, it's easy to take down and move. Electric fencing is not a physical barrier. It's a pain barrier. When that electric pulse goes by, it deters the animal. If you have a determined large predator, or a dog or something like that, they can go through those fences. Typically, however, animals lead with their noses, so it doesn't take a whole lot of shocking to get them to want to back off your chicken. Electric fencing also won't keep your chickens in without clipping their wings. Some chickens are quite content to hang out inside netting, some are not. I have a few that like to fly over. I don't like clipping wings, so I don't do it. Now, electric fencing is not just for larger operations or big homesteady type things. They're actually really good for backyards as well because you can move them so easily. You can put the coop inside your netting and then move it as needed around your backyard if a chicken tractor or something like that is not your speed. They're also significantly cheaper than trying to build an actual physical barrier to keep predators out. But these are some factors that you have to keep in mind when you're trying to decide if electric fence is right for you. We use Premier One fencing. There are several other brands. These are the ones we've used. I've been very happy with them. One of the other drawbacks of electric fencing is terrain. If you have flat terrain, they work very well. If you have very grassy, brushy terrain, it's a little harder because you don't want your fence to ground out along that section. If it touches anything wet, grass, snow, sticks, brush, it'll reduce your output. In the description below, I will put links to the actual setup that we're using here for your perusing pleasure. If you do have brush, grass, uneven terrain, some of those things, you can fix some of that by adding extra poles so that you can follow the terrain. You will need a more powerful brain or charging unit for your fencing to overcome the grass brush, it grounding out a little bit, because that's what happens when the brush and grass touches, it grounds out just a little bit. So let's talk chargers. So when we moved out here, we started with something like this. This is a little Gallagher Charger. I think it was $60 on Amazon, and it puts out something like 0.08 joules or about 3,000 volts. Joules is a amount of energy over time. So they're all rated in joules. Some of them have the watts listed, but very, very low everything. Very inexpensive. And I will tell you, out here in the woods, I lost no birds while using this. Not to predators anyways. We have coyotes, wild dogs, raccoons, possums, foxes, kind of the usual run-of-the-mill stuff. But this worked. If I was in a small backyard or in suburbia where you're probably just trying to stop like raccoons and things like that, I think this would work just fine. In part because a raccoon doesn't have the mass to go through that fence, and they're going to get shocked. They learn pretty quick. But we upgraded because we also have pigs and cows that run off of electric wire. So we upgraded to the Solar Pack 12. Solar Pack 12 has, I believe it is 1.2 joules stored, but this thing bangs out at a close to 10,000 volts per impedance, or per shock. It's low impedance. One of the things I love about this is you charge it for 5 days before you use it, and it will last a month with the 12-volt battery that is in here without any sun whatsoever. You could literally cover it and it would still send out that pulse for a month. It has a very easy on and off switch, and it comes with its own voltmeter basically. Now, it doesn't tell you what the volts are. It just tells you red means it's grounding out somewhere, yellow means it's not doing very good, and then there's a whole range of green. so you don't have to have a voltmeter to test it. Something else I think is important that you should have for ease of use. This is a voltmeter for a fence. You put this in the ground, you hang this on your fencing, and it will light up those little ranges and tell you exactly what you're getting. This one goes up to 7,000, which is plenty. The Solar Pack 12, I believe, was $299 when we bought it. Again, I've had all of these systems for over a year now, and they're working really, really well. One of the things that a fence will not protect you from is hawks. So we like to run our birds in the woods with some bit of pasture sticking out for them, so they have natural cover and natural protection. But that is a quick down and dirty on our fences, why we have them, why we like them, and why I think they're a great tool in your toolkit. They're not the end all be all, but you can spend a fortune trying to put in hard fencing. That won't stop anything. A friend of mine had pigs inside a cinder block enclosure, and one of the pigs knocked a cinder block out of the corner wall. What does that have to do with electric fences? If something's determined, it's going to get in there. A very, 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 very important thing is to make sure whatever animals you have behind an electric fence have everything that they need. If they're not scared, if they're not hungry, if they're not thirsty, then they typically will stay put because they have everything they need. But if your animals get hungry or scared, all bets are off. I hope you find this helpful. If you haven't already, please hit that like button. And if you haven't, I invite you to subscribe to our channel. We are constantly growing as we grow, and we're sharing our info with you. Hope you guys have a great day. Thanks for joining me. Bye.